Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sunday evening program. So today I will start with a story. This particular story, I thought is interesting and has a lot of meaning inside the story, and how Buddha looked at that story and how he spoke Dhamma based on that story, and this story is something that is connected with our life, and since it is connected to our life, it's helpful that we listen to this story and gain some wisdom, some understanding through this story. So this story is about a man called Mahadana. Mahadana literally means the great wealthy man. He was a wealthy merchant, and he used to go to different places to sell his goods, to sort of do the trade as a tradesman. And then once he came to Savatthi, he was originally from Benares, and he came to Savatthi because there was a week festival, like maybe Ganesh Chaturthi festival, something like that. There was a festival in Shravasti. So Savatthi, it was a very big city. In the time of Buddha, it had a population of 7 crores. Have you heard of any city which had 7 crore population? At least in India, I guess maybe in today's time, maybe 2 crore, maybe Mumbai. So that city had 7 crore population. It was very wealthy city, very prosperous city, So he came and he had to cross a river, but that river was flooded. It was totally flooded. And as a result, he couldn't go. He waited and waited and waited. But for 7 long days, there was flood, and even for few more days as well. So due to that, he couldn't sell his goods in the festival. So he was stuck there. And then he thought, okay, when the flood finally stopped, he thought, why not I sell the goods in Shravasti and then I go back to my city, Benares. He thought like that, and then he decided to stay in Shravasti till his goods are sold, and he was there. So one day, Buddha, he was going along with some monk for his food. He was going to the city for his food. As you know, Buddha takes a bowl and go from house to house and for food, and people can offer whatever they have, whatever they can at that time. So it is called alms round, Pindapata, alms round. Right? So that's what Buddha was doing. And Buddha saw this Mahadana on the way, and Buddha smiled. When he saw this man, he smiled. And Ananda Bhante, who was the personal attendant of the Buddha, asked Buddha, why did the Buddha smile? And the Buddha said that this person is going to die very soon. This Mahadana is going to die very soon. That's why I smile. And why did Buddha smile? Because he was obviously planning a lot of things, selling his good, a lot of planning and going on in his head. All right. So then Anandavante went and told this Mahadana that Buddha has foretold, predicted that you are going to die very soon, very, very soon, like maybe if you, in maybe 10 days or so, so then he became very much frightened, totally frightened, right? Imagine somebody comes and tells you are going to die in a week time. What you will do, right? If somebody comes and tells you, somebody from the heaven or one angel or somebody comes and tells you you are going to die in 3 days or 5 days. Okay, imagine, right? So he was totally frightened because after all it was Buddha, and because by that time Buddha was very popular as a religious teacher. He was very popular in the city, everywhere, not just in Savatthi, but in many places. He was popular. So he was totally frightened. And then he obviously wanted to do something, do a lot before he died, right? So Buddha taught him teaching, and he, for 7 days continuously, he did a lot of offering, dana, generosity. He did that. And then he also practiced mindfulness, meditation, like mindfulness, not just in meditation, but all the time. He practiced this carefulness of his action, even the slightest of action, because after all, he's going to die maybe in 7 days or 8 days, So he was very, very careful. He was doing a lot of dana, practicing shila, which is, shila means, being careful of one's action, speech, and thought, So he was doing all of that. And then he, after 7 or 8 days, he actually realized the first stage of sainthood called Sotapanna. He actually became enlightened. He achieved the first stage of enlightenment, which means his mind sort of underwent a transformation, a spiritual transformation, which is irreversible, right? A kind of total change in the mind, which is irreversible. The first stage of enlightenment. Okay, so that's what he became. And then Buddha at that point, and he was after his death, he was born in Tawatimsa heaven. There is one heaven called Tawatimsa. So he was born there as a result of his good deeds, right? So there, Buddha shared or taught this particular stanza, sloka, gatha, called Ida vasang vasissami, Ida hemmanta gimhisu, iti balo vichinteti, antarayam nabujjati. So it's very interesting. The meaning is, here will I live in the rainy season. Here will I live in the cold season and the hot season. So imagines the fool, not realizing the danger of approaching death. So what Buddha is saying is that we all plan, right? Oh, I will do this. We have a whole life plan. Go to school, go to college, get the degree, go to job, marry, and then house, then car, then holiday, and then children, then grandchildren. So all this plan we have in our head, which is okay, which is good, but at the same time Buddha is telling us to be aware of the danger the danger of death, right? It's good to have a plan, but if death approaches, your plan is gone, right? Your plan is just gone in a fraction of a second. It's just gone, right? You can't do anything about it, if you die. And the difficulty is that we don't know when exactly we are going to die, right? If we know our exact date of death, we can actually plan accordingly, right? But then we don't know, right? So, and because we don't know when we are going to die, we have almost this notion within ourselves that we are forever, right? We are going to live forever, right? Does it ever come in your mind, right? That I'm going to die, right? I may die. Does it come in our head? It doesn't. Even if it comes, it's not very. It's not like fear, like in the case of Mahadana. Mahadana, he got fear because it was told by Buddha, right? Buddha told him and predicted. It's almost like doctor saying, you have a cancer and you are just going to live for 7 days. What if a doctor comes and tells you, or maybe three months? But even if doctor predicts for 3 months, you may think, 3 months is quite long, and when it is actually 7 days or something, then you may get some fear. And otherwise, you don't get fear. All right? You don't get fear because it doesn't sort of comes in our heart very strongly. It doesn't come very strongly. It is very shallow. It is like it is not there. It is just not there, right? So therefore, what Buddha is telling us to reflect is on death, So I think I spoke about death in one of the previous talk, but there is this death reflection. We call it death contemplation or death reflection is something that we can meditate upon, right? So one of the meditation is death, that, and also, we can bring in this thought of death by maybe hearing about someone else's death, going to, it's good to sometimes go to funeral. I mean, it's not just for the person who died to pray for that person, but also to for yourself to bring in the thought of death, right? So that you become aware of death. And why do we need to become aware of death? Because some people may say, okay, let it come whenever it comes. It will come anyway. So why should I even bother about the death? But then there are a lot of benefits, and if you don't reflect upon death, a lot of harms, right? So what the benefits of reflecting on death is that we become even more careful about our time. We become more careful about our action. We become more careful about our life, and also it helps us to reduce some of our own negativity within us. And I think it also helps us in lessening our attachment to people. We are sometimes so much attached to our people, especially our family member or friends, so it will decrease our attachment to people. Why we need to decrease attachment to people? Because if we don't do that, then when the person who is beloved to us, loving to us, dear to us, when they, when they get some difficulty, when they are separated, or if they die, it will have some bigger influence in our mind. It will sort of give us sadness. It will give us depression. It will give us, all this kind of thought that is very difficult to bear. So therefore, death contemplation, as I mentioned just now, has a lot of benefits. So many benefits. It's very powerful, very important, and very beneficial practice that we can do along with our meditation. So we can do. And some of you who are, if you have loving, caring family members, you're fortunate, of course. That's very good, very fortunate. But at the same time, we also need to try to decrease our attachment to our people. It's very, very important. In Buddha also spoke about it in Maitri Sutta, in Karane Metta Sutta, that he advised us to be not too much attached to family members, but love them, care them, which is good. But then we also meditate on death. So in meditation of death, you reflect upon yourself, that I am going to die. I'm not free from death. Death can come anytime. I may die by this. I may die by that. You can maybe by accident, by sickness, by some kind of some different reasons I may die. And then you really have to bring in that thought inside your mind, right? And then some of your people, maybe 5-6 people who are very close to you, so you you bring in their face one at a time, and then you try to focus your mind on them, and then tell that he or she is also is subject to death. He or she is also not free from death. Is also going to die one day, or he or she may die by accident, by sickness, by various reasons, may die. So this is very, very powerful, especially all of you who are, householders, who have families, who have parent, sister, brother, friends, a son, daughter, granddaughter, great-granddaughter, grandfather, grandmother, so many relatives we have, cousins, So we have all of that. So it's very good. It's very important to have a relationship. It helps us. Relationship helps us, nurture us. But at the same time, if it can also sometimes bring us a lot of sadness, a deep sadness, a sadness that is very deep, And so that it helps in that. And also it helps us in, as I mentioned, to value our life, to value every moment of our life, right? We don't waste our time. We don't generate negativity within us. We don't generate negativity toward people, toward other people, toward our friends, because we know we are going to die, Buddha gave the example of bubbles, the water bubbles, the bubble comes and next 2-3 seconds, it is busted out. So Buddha said, that is our life. Our life is like bubble, those bubble which are just going to burst anytime. In the same way, our life is also like that bubbles. It is going to end anytime. We don't know when, right? We're all sitting here, but we don't know, something may happen here, right? as we are all sitting together, something can happen. It's good to think like that, in a very wise way. Not, I mean, it's not like you should have some unreasonable fear, but a very reasonable fear, fear or reasonable fear, because Buddha said that we should have what is called the healthy fear, hiri or tappa. Fear is very important for us to have, some fear, healthy fear. In simple word, I can say healthy fear. So healthy fear is something that we should have, about our life. So yes, we should talk about death. We should talk about death of some of our near and dear people. Sometime, we don't talk, right? We don't sometimes talk about somebody's death, especially in the night. We don't want to talk. We consider it as ashub, amangal. But talk. I mean, night is even more good time, I feel. Because at least before dying, you are dying with a peaceful mind. If you die in the night, while sleeping, if you die, you will die with a good heart. So your next life will be more better. Better life, heavenly life. So talk about death. Talk about some of your somebody whom you know died. Talk about them, right? And especially sometime some celebrities dying, that's also good, because you know that, oh, he was a very big popular fellow but died. That's also help. That also helps us. But as a meditation, of course, you can, if you don't want to talk, if people don't like to talk about death, it's okay. You can at least meditate upon death. So death is also, we say, kala kato. Kala kato. Kala is time. Kato means finish. The time is finish. So death also means the ending of time. So it's a very important one. And as you can see in the story, that we have all the plans, but we don't see the danger. So we see the danger, and we bring in this fear of death, which is very important. And we try to, with the help of the death reflection, we try to keep ourselves more, more happier, more joyful, more loving. So yes, loving is very important, not attachment. So please try to understand the difference between attachment and love. Love and attachment, they are two different things that we need to understand. So when I tell you about death, it's not like you should, you should not have any love toward your people. In fact, when you think about death, you will love your people more, right? You will genuinely love your people more when you think about death. In fact, you will love yourself more. You will, in fact, love yourself more, because you know you are going to die anytime, right? Anytime you can die. So this is the small message from Buddha on death. It is called Marananusati, reflection on death. So we have to think about death, and as I mentioned, talk about death, with each other. Sometimes somebody dies, go to their funeral, look at them, and then that's an occasion. That's a good occasion for us to think about death. To sink in our heart. Because it has to go into our heart. Feel that. We have to feel that. We should, so that we become more mindful, more careful about our own life, our own time, and most importantly, our mind, because when we die, what we are going to carry along with us is our mind, and mind with its action, good action, bad action, they are going to come along with us when we die. And those actions are going to decide our future. Those actions are going to decide our next life. So action alone is going to accompany us when we die, right? So therefore, we can gain a lot from the death. And last time you also remember there was this story about this young girl. She was meditating on death, and Buddha came once more to her village, her town, just for her, because she was practicing that death contemplation a lot, and that sort of matured her heart, her mind. And Buddha came there, taught her, and she became enlightened. She achieved the first stage of enlightenment. So that is one instance, where Buddha, the death reflection helped that girl. So like that, death reflection is very powerful. Along with sickness and aging, you can also reflect on sickness and aging. Right now you're healthy, but you don't know how long you will be healthy. Right? Today you are all healthy, we are all healthy, but how long you will be healthy? Right? Suddenly some sickness is found. What do? Right? So, okay, death looks a little more far, but sickness at least look more nearer, right? Because we get sickness every now and then, smaller sickness, we get, right? So sickness is one, and aging is also something we have to reflect upon. We will age, we'll have new problem, we can't walk, properly, we can't be faster, we can't eat, we can't sleep properly as we age. So aging is something that Buddha constantly we have to reflect. Buddha said paccavekitapang, constantly we have to abhinhang paccavekitapang, constant. That is so this I will tell you: aging, sickness, death, and separation from people whom we like, and action. Action, this 5 things Buddha said. The action is our friend, action is going to come with us, action is my inheritance. As you get inheritance from your parent, your action is your inheritance. You are going to get your action for you. Just like you get your father's property, you get your action for you. Kamma sakomhi kamma dayadu, kamma dayat, dayat, property, inheritance. So these 5 things Buddha said reflect, aging, sickness, death, separation from near and dear people, and action. The 5, pancha, abhinham paccavekitapang, we have to reflect, So it's very helpful, powerful. It helps us to not just about spirituality or enlightenment, but it helps us lead a good life, right? It helps us to be a better person, a better person, good person, to be helpful for ourselves and our people. And it also helps us, whatever sometimes we get all this negative mind, anger, anger and jealousy and all those restlessness. So all those negativity can also be curbed when you reflect on these 5 realities of life. So that's what Buddha wanted us, and it's something that's helpful. And when you do that, then you will be very loving, you will be you will be very peaceful, you will be very joyful, you will be happy, and you will love, you will love yourself, you will love others. So by reflecting on these 5 things, Buddha is not trying to make you, not trying to make you sad, he's not trying to make you sad, but rather he's making you more cheerful. Are you all cheerful now or sad after listening to these 5? So so don't be sad, be cheerful, because we know, that these realities are there, and of course we don't wish them to happen, but we still be aware of them. So when we are aware of them, we are more careful, like the story Mahadam. Otherwise he was just busy in his business, making money, go to Benares back, with all the money that he will earn during the festival, but had the Buddha not been there, he would have just died without him knowing that he's going to die, and he would have been more busy in making money and die, So therefore, we all can be much more happier and we think about these realities, So as a reflection, we can do along with our breath meditation, loving kindness meditation, we can also sometime, in fact, before we start the meditation, we can also bring in these 5 things, so that even meditation can be helpful. Meditation can also be a bit more helpful for us. Okay. So I think I conclude here my few words of Dhamma, and I wish all of you good health, happiness, and joy and peace, and may you be able to reflect on the 5 realities I've spoken to you, and may it help you to generate happiness within yourself and others, and may you all progress on the path of Dhamma and achieve the ultimate happiness of Nibbana. And now we shall also pray for the peace of all the beings. Sukhe dukkha ahangya ita cha me sukhe hunto majjata jataverino imam he gama ketam he Sata hunto sukhe sada tato paranchara jeso chakavale sujantano sadhu sadhu. Okay, so thank you all of you for coming today. Some of you are coming regularly, some are maybe new. So we see you next Sunday. It's every Sunday program. You're all welcome to come and join. So we see you next Sunday.